Hi, I'd like to introduce you to Karen, who's going to be practicing yoga with us today. And you might notice as Karen sits here that her hips are fairly open, but her knees don't go all the way to the floor, and her pelvis has a tendency to rotate backwards. So we're going to offer her a prop that will help keep the natural curves in the spine, rotate the pelvis forward, and allow her hips to be more open, bringing her knees closer to the floor. Now you might notice that it's easier for Karen to sit up straight. Her pelvis is a little rotated forward, but really look where you can see the most of the adjustment is how her knees are. They're not up as high in the air, they're more flush towards the earth. We'll start our practice today with a pose called Chakravakasana to warm up the entire spine. So the knees are hip width apart, the hands are shoulder width apart, spreading the fingers very wide, pinching the floor with the fingertips so that the wrists are protected. As you inhale, slightly bend the elbows, draw back on the palms and curve the spine as you come forward, lifting the tailbone and looking up. Then as you exhale, drop chin to chest, round the low back. Release the elbows to the floor first, and then the hips towards the heels, letting the neck completely relax. Good. Then inhaling, coming forward, curving the spine, leading with the heart, keeping the neck long, and exhaling, rounding, drawing the belly button to the spine as you release back, elbows, and then hips. Beautiful. This works with bringing the circulation and fluidity throughout the entire spine, imbibing the spinal discs with liquid. It's one of the most important poses you can do to keep the body healthy. As you exhale, releasing back, you can really drop the tailbone. So on the exhale, as you release back, you might feel that nice stretch in the hips. You might feel it more in the low back, just depending on where your body holds tension. And really let the neck relax at the end of the exhale, so you're not creating tension in the neck. Next, we're going to work with a back bend to build strength in the back, especially around the lumbar spine and the sacroiliac joint. So starting on your stomach, forehead to the floor, bring the hands to your buttocks. Then as you inhale, you're going to lift head, neck, and shoulders and both legs, keeping the neck long. Take another inhale as you open the legs wide. And then exhale, bring the legs together. You'll have to internally rotate the thighs in order to touch the knees. Inhaling, opening wide, and then exhaling, coming together, internally rotating. Good. Inhaling, opening wide, and exhaling, coming together. Good. Inhaling, opening wide again, and now we'll hold the pose. So when you're ready, you're going to reach back and place your hands on your buttocks. Slightly press the pubic bone into the ground to lengthen the low back, and with an inhale, lift up head, neck, and shoulders in both legs. Wait for your next inhale, open the legs wide, and as you exhale, bring the legs together, internally rotating the thighs to touch the knees. Good. Inhaling, opening wide, and then exhaling, coming together. Beautiful. Repeating that a couple more times. Good. Keeping the neck long. Beautiful. Exhaling, coming together. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling together one more time. This time we're going to hold the pose. So open the legs wide. Take your arms forward like you're a big giant X. If you have shoulder tension, you want to keep the arms back with the hands on the buttocks. Now we're going to compensate for that pose by going into child's pose. So bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press up to all fours. Take your knees as wide as your mat with the toes touching, and sink your hips back to the heels, walking the hands forward. Let the forehead might touch the floor. If it doesn't touch the floor, you could always make a shelf with your forearms and let your forehead rest on your forearms. You always want to compensate for a back bend with a forward bend. So that was a very strong back bend. It's very beneficial to build strength across the entire low back. It also strengthens up the entire spine, but our focus here today is to strengthen around the sacroiliac joint, which in yoga can often be injured if it's not done properly, or we might have a natural weakness in that area. Next, we're going to do a pose to release the psoas, which is a major hip flexor. When that gets tight, we start to hunch in our posture. The alignment's very important so that we protect the knees. So here, the front leg, you're going to have the outer edge of the front foot in line with the outer hip so that your base is hip width apart and your balance is easier. Then your right hand will stay on your right knee, and the alignment is important. Go ahead and bring your hips down and let's make sure we have the right alignment. Notice here how her knee's directly over her ankle. You don't want the knee beyond the ankle. It overstretches the patellar tendon. So her alignment's perfect. We're going to bring the hips back, and we'll repeat this a few times to bring circulation, and then we'll hold the pose. So as you inhale, come forward, bring the hips down, raise the left arm, pressing the chest slightly forward. Exhaling, straighten the front leg slightly and come out. Good. Inhaling, coming forward, sink the hips down, press the chest forward. Exhaling, coming out. Inhaling forward. Beautiful. Exhaling out. And then inhaling forward. This time we're going to hold the pose. So if you feel any pain in your low back, think of pulling the belly in and tucking the tailbone, and also pressing the chest forward so that you're elongating the curves in the spine. So repeating the pose is bringing circulation into the muscles we're working. So we're inviting that circulation into the psoas, which is being stretched when she's in the full position of the pose. Now it's important here also, as you're practicing at home, to make sure that that knee tracks over the ankle and not beyond it. And also, sometimes if we have tight hips, the knee might want to track internally. Counter that by bringing the knee directly over the ankle. Now on this next repetition, we're going to come in and hold the pose. Now if you feel any pain in your low back, press your chest forward and engage the abs, which will drop your tailbone slightly. Beautiful. Now Karen looks great here. Make sure those of you at home aren't creating tension in your shoulder. Keep the shoulder in the socket and keep your neck long. Holding this pose for 6 to 9 breaths will then allow the muscle and the fascia within the muscle to stretch and keep the length. Take one more deep inhale. As you exhale, bring both hands to the floor, and we're going to pull that right leg back. And if you're having any low back pain, sink back into child's pose just to counter that asymmetrical back bend. And when you're ready, we'll take that pose to the other side. So coming back to all fours, this time the left leg will come forward. And again, we're going to take our time to get the alignment here. So outer edge of the front foot in line with the outer edge of the front hip. And then sink the hips down and make sure that that knee tracks over the ankle and not beyond it. Good. Now we'll do the repetition on this side. So bring the hips back, left hand on left knee, right arm is free. Inhaling, coming forward, drop the hips down, lift up through the chest. Exhaling, slightly straighten that front leg and come out. Inhaling, coming forward, press the heart forward, reach up with the right hand. Exhaling, coming out. And we'll repeat that several more times. Inhaling, coming forward. Now notice the beautiful elongation in Karen's neck. Make sure you're keeping that neck long and not crunching the head back. And now we'll come in and hold the pose. Really feeling that stretch in the front of the right thigh. One more deep inhale. As you exhale, bring both hands to the ground. Draw that front foot back and come into an extended child's pose again. Always countering, coming back into that forward bend, bringing your body and spine back to neutral. Now we'll move into a wide-legged forward bend. So stepping out to each side. And a good alignment cue would be to raise the hands, and if it's possible, have the heels under the wrists. If that's too wide, that you feel a little too stretched out, by all means, keep a closer stance. So it's important as you exhale going into the forward bend to draw your abs in. So we're going to inhale, lift up through the head and the heart. Exhale, pull the belly in. Keep length in the spine as you come all the way forward. And Karen's flexible and can keep her knees straight. Some of you might need to bend the knees generously. So honor your body. And the head can hang. And again, you have options here. You can have the elbows bent, holding the elbows. Hands can come anywhere along the outer leg or outer foot. Or the hands can be under the shoulders. Fingers wide, using that leverage to draw yourself in deeper. If you have disc damage in your back, you might want to skip this entirely or bend the knees very generously so that the sacrum tilts forward. Now we're going to use this pose to stretch the inner thigh. So it's important to keep all four corners of both feet firmly pressed into the floor. Use your hands on the floor or on a block for support. And we're going to bend strongly into one knee, keeping the outer edge of that opposite foot firmly into the earth. And with an inhale, come back up to center. Pause for a moment to feel the effect of that pose. And then when you're ready, we'll take that to the other side, bending into the other knee, keeping the opposite foot firmly pressed into the floor, especially through the outer edge of the foot. And with an inhale, come back to center, pausing for a moment, let your head hang. Make sure your belly's drawn in. Now to come out safely, you want to take the tension out of the hamstrings. So bend both knees a lot, bring one hand above each knee, and with an inhale, come up with a flat back, nice and slow. Beautiful, and hands on your hips if you're dizzy at all. And then from here, heel toe the feet together and come back to standing in Tadasana. Transition from standing back to the floor. So I'll ask you all to come to stand on your knees, knees hip width apart. And I'll show you the modified version of the pose first, which is always safer if you're not sure. So allow an inhale to bring your arms out and up. As you exhale, abs in as you bow forward. Modification is hands on the floor, forehead touches, and hips move towards heels. Then to rise up, inhaling, squeeze the shoulder blades together, keep the neck long, and you'll raise the arms up overhead as you come to stand on the knees again. Beautiful. Exhaling, draw the belly button to the spine as you come forward. Hands come down first, forehead touches, hips move towards heels. Now if your hips don't reach your heels, that's okay. They don't have to go all the way back. And then inhaling to rise, really squeezing the shoulder blades together, keeping your back long and strong. Beautiful, Karen. And then exhaling, bowing forward. The full version of the pose will involve the arms sweeping all the way to where the back of the hands come to the low back. So I'll talk you through that. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhaling, abs in as you bow forward. Arms sweep out, back of the hands to the low back. Forehead touches the floor, and hips move towards heels. Then to rise up, keep the neck long, squeeze the shoulder blades together, coming up with that flat back. Reach the arms up, lengthening through the spine. And exhale, belly in as you bow forward. Really engaging the core, back of the hands to the low back, forehead touches, hips move towards heels. Good, the inhale helps you rise up, squeeze the shoulder blades together, keep your neck long. Beautiful, reaching up, lengthening through the crown of the head, and exhaling, bowing forward again. So go ahead and continue a few more poses. This pose is great for creating core strength just by creating balance and stabilization in the core. It also brings heat and circulation to the shoulders and the low back and provides a little bit of circulation into the knees. Here's Larissa, who will also be practicing with us today. And you might notice she also has fairly open hips, but there's still a slight backward rotation in her pelvis, keeping the natural curves out of her spine and some tension left in her hips. You might also notice that there's some asymmetry between her left hip and her right hip, which is fairly common. We all have asymmetry from one degree to another. So with that, you don't want to work towards opening the looser hip more so than the tighter hip. You want to work towards a balance. Now we've added a cushion for Larissa to sit on, which elevates the hips, rotates the pelvis forward, and you can see now the placement of her knees are closer to the floor and the hips look more open. Now Larissa will lead us through some of the floor postures, and we'll start with a pose called reverse pigeon. So go ahead and find a comfortable place lying on your back, and then we'll bend both legs. So taking your right ankle and crossing it over onto the left knee. It's extremely important to keep that right ankle flexed to protect your knee. From here, you're going to lift the left foot off the floor, reach between the leg with the right hand, and grab either in front of the shin, or if that bothers your knee, you can also hold behind the thigh. Direct your breath into the tension in that outer right hip. You might notice that the tailbone wants to lift off the ground. Try to keep the tailbone pressing towards the earth and make sure you're not creating tension in your neck and shoulders. Notice how Larissa's neck is long and her shoulders are relaxed. And with each exhale, you might be able to draw that left knee a little closer, maybe even adding a slight pressure with the right arm into the right inner thigh. If this pose is difficult for you, you could keep the left foot on the floor If you're fine here, stay here. But if you want to deepen the pose, we're going to take this one step further. So taking your arms out to the side, let your left thigh and your right foot come over to the left side of your body. The left thigh and the right foot should come flat to the floor. And again, you're keeping that right ankle flexed to protect the knee. From there, reach with your left hand and hold on to your right ankle. Your right hand is reaching diagonally away from you so that you're opening up the chest. Now, energetically, press your right knee away with your muscular strength. And you might feel that strongly in your outer hip. We're targeting the piriformis in two different ways here. First with reverse pigeon, and now with this variation. So holding for a few more deep breaths. And remember to be kind to your body. If you're getting sharp, knife-like pains, or this is creating stabbing or tingling down your leg, come out of the pose. This might not be for you today. And now we'll transition out of the pose. So releasing your hold with the left hand. Wait for an inhale to help lift your knees back up to center. Coming onto your back again and setting both feet flat on the floor. And now's a good time to pause and feel the difference between each hip. Feel what that work did. Noticing those subtle changes that happen in your body. And now we're ready to take that to the other side. So this time crossing the left ankle onto the right knee. And again, reminding you to keep that ankle flexed to protect your knee. So if you're already feeling a deep stretch, you can stay here. Or you're going to lift the right leg off the ground, reach between the legs with the left hand and hold either behind the thigh or in front of the right shin. Now keep in mind, this side might be very different. We all have asymmetry from side to side in our body, so be kind to yourself. And remember, if one hip is much more open than the other, don't keep opening the more open hip. Work towards balance. Try to catch the tight hip up to the open hip, and then go from there to deepen your practice. And now if you want to take this deeper on this side, we're going to release the arms and bring them out to the side. Let the right thigh and the left sole of the foot come over to the right side of the body. And then you're reaching your right hand down to that left ankle. And notice how the stretch will change. Larissa's right knee is a little bit further away. If she wants to intensify that stretch, she can bring the right knee closer to the right side of her body. And then to intensify the stretch, you're holding that ankle and energetically pushing that left knee away. And remember, the breath is your friend here. Keep directing those deep, slow inhales as though your lung were sitting in the tightest part of your hip. And then when you're ready, release the hold on the left foot. Wait for an inhale, bring your legs back up to center. And then set both feet flat on the floor. And it might be kind to hug your knees into your chest just to bring your spine back to neutral. After those deep hip openers, we're going to bring some circulation back into the hips. So go ahead and draw the knees into the chest. Reach between the legs and hold on to the big toe. Now, it's not important if you get your legs all the way straight. This is for focusing on the hips, so don't even worry about straightening the legs. As you inhale, heels go to the ceiling and keep the neck long. Exhale, open the legs wide. Inhale, bring the legs back together. And exhale, knees to chest. Inhaling, heels go up. Exhale, legs go wide. Inhale, legs come together. And exhale, knees to chest. So inhaling, bringing the heels towards the ceiling, and it's fine if the knees stay bent. Exhale, take the legs wide, keeping the tailbone pressing towards the earth. Inhale, legs come back together. And exhale, knees to chest. Good. Inhaling, heels go up. Exhale, legs go wide. Inhale, legs come together. And exhale, knees to chest. Beautiful. Now from here, we're going to bring some circulation back into the hips to compensate for that long stretch we just did. So reaching between your knees, hold on to your big toes. And it's not important if your legs get all the way straight. I can't stress that enough. We're just focusing on opening the hips and bringing circulation back into them. As you inhale, heels go towards the ceiling. Exhale, legs go wide. Inhale, legs come together. And exhale, knees to chest. Now we'll repeat that several times. Inhaling, heels go up. Exhale, legs go wide. Inhale, legs come together. And exhale, knees to chest. Now maybe you can get them more straight, so I'm going to have Larissa demonstrate that as well. So inhaling, heels go towards the ceiling, getting the legs a little more straight. Exhale, legs go wide. Inhale, legs come together. And exhale, knees to chest. Inhaling, heels go towards the ceiling. Exhale, legs go wide. Inhale, legs come together. And exhale, knees to chest. Inhaling, heels go up. Exhale, legs go wide. Inhale, legs come together. And exhale, knees to chest. This time we're going to come up and hold the pose. So inhale, legs come straight, heels towards the ceiling. Exhale, legs go wide. And we're going to hold this pose now. So if you have the flexibility, you can continue to hold the toes. Some of us might not get our legs straight at all. That's fine. This can look more like happy baby with the knees bent. You could also reach and hold the inner calf or the inner thigh. Perfect. And some of our bodies want to rise up with the tailbone. So keep energetically pressing your tailbone towards the earth. So in holding this pose, you can play with it, energetically pressing the heels away so you're lengthening the muscles on the back of the leg, drawing the toes towards your face. Notice how Larissa's neck is long and she's relaxed in the shoulders and the tailbone is down on the earth. She's not flying up. Beautiful pose. And then with an inhale, bring the legs back together. And exhale, hug the knees into the chest. And maybe rock a little from side to side. We're going to compensate for that twist, bringing the spine back to neutral with a forward bend. So this pose is called Apanasana. You can start with the hands either on the knees or behind the knees. And go ahead and start with your arms straight and your belly relaxed. Good. Then taking a deep inhale. As you exhale, draw the knees towards your chest and really pull the belly button into the spine. So you're compressing the abdomen. Inhaling, straighten the arms and relax the belly. And then exhale, knees to chest. We'll repeat this several times. This is great for bringing circulation into the hips and low back. Now we're going to do a twist that is specifically to release the gluteus medius. So bringing your arms out to the sides, palms can be up or down. With an inhale, bring the right leg straight up towards the ceiling. Exhale, take that leg across the body, hovering a foot off the ground as you look in the opposite direction. Good. Inhale, engage the abs, come back to center, look at the ceiling. And then exhale, abs in as you go across, looking in the opposite direction. The foot goes across a foot off the floor. Inhale, coming back to center, looking up. And then exhale, taking the leg across the body, looking in the opposite direction. And we're going to hover there for a moment. Now we're going to do some external rotation, and this movement should come from the hip, not the foot. So take an inhale, and as you exhale, externally rotate the thigh, turning the toes towards the ceiling. Inhale, bring the leg parallel to the floor again. Exhale, externally rotate. Inhale, parallel to the floor. Exhale, externally rotate, and we're going to hold it there for a couple of breaths, but don't hold the breath. Keep breathing. And then bring the foot back parallel to the floor. With an inhale, bring the leg back up to center. And then keep the abs engaged as you slowly point and flex the toes as you lower that leg to the ground. And pausing there, take the time to notice the difference between each side. Now we're going to take that movement to the other side. So with an inhale, bring the left leg straight up towards the ceiling. Exhale, the leg goes across the body about a foot off the floor, and you look in the opposite direction. Inhale, engage the abs, come back to center, look at the ceiling. Good. Exhale, abs in as you take the leg across the body, look in the opposite direction. Inhale, heel comes to the ceiling, looking back up at the ceiling. And then exhale, abs in as you take that leg across the body, parallel to the floor, about a foot off the floor. And now we'll work with that external rotation. So take a deep inhale. Exhale, externally rotate the thigh, turning the toes towards the ceiling. Inhale, parallel to the floor. Good. Exhale, externally rotate. Inhale, parallel to the floor. And now externally rotate, and we're going to hold that for a couple of breaths. With each exhale, really pull the abs in, so you're giving your internal organs a nice squeeze. Now bring the leg back parallel to the floor, and with an inhale, bring the leg up straight towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, slowly point and flex as you lower that leg towards the ground. So after any yoga practice, it's wise, even before, to drink plenty of water, but especially working with the hips, because they hold so much. When we release them, we need to give the body a way to release the toxins. Now we'll compensate for that twist with a forward bend. So bending both legs, lifting the feet off the floor, and placing your hands either in front of the knees or behind the knees. As you inhale, straighten the arms and relax the belly. And then exhale, draw the knees to the chest and the belly button to the spine. Inhaling, straighten the arms, relax the belly. And then exhale, knees to chest. And we'll repeat this several times. This pose is very good for bringing circulation to the low back and the hips, but it's also very good for digestion. I like to call this one a yogic band-aid. Whenever your low back hurts, this is a good pose to do to bring circulation into the low back, and it's safe for just about anyone. Now we'll finish with a pose called Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined cobbler's pose. This pose is very good for bringing circulation into the low back and the hips. So bending one leg and then the other, with your feet resting flat on the floor. Then we open the knees to the outside with the soles of the feet together. We want the back long here, so engage the abs and bring the pubic bone slightly towards the belly button so the lumbar spine is long. Perfect. Take a deep inhale, and you're exhaling very slowly as you very slowly bring the knees halfway together. And the legs might shake, that's totally normal. Pausing there, take another deep inhale, and then exhaling very slowly as you bring the knees the rest of the way together. And then pausing at the top, letting the feet rest flat. And slower is better, so if you hit a spot that's the legs are shaking a little bit more, it's fine to stay there. That's probably what your body needs. So we'll do this 2 more times. Next we'll come together in thirds, and then we'll come together in quarters, so we just keep slowing it down. So opening the knees, soles of the feet together, and pubic bone slightly towards belly button to lengthen the low back. Good. Take a deep inhale. Exhaling very slowly, coming 1/3 of the way together. Pausing there. Take another deep inhale. Exhaling very slowly to 2/3. And then another deep inhale. Exhaling very slowly, coming the rest of the way together. And then pausing at the top, let the feet rest flat. And we'll do it 1 more time, this time coming together in quarters, so you're barely moving. Open the knees, soles of the feet together. Pubic bone slightly towards belly button. Good. Take a deep inhale. Exhale very slowly, coming 1/4 of the way together. Good. Pausing there. Take another deep inhale. Exhale very slowly, coming to 1/2. Good. Pausing there. Take another deep inhale. Exhaling slowly, coming to 3/4. Good. And last one, go as slow as you can. Take a deep inhale and exhale very slowly, coming the rest of the way together. Letting the feet rest flat once you're there, and then coming to lie flat on your back. Now we'll finish with the most important pose called Shavasana, or corpse pose. This is where all the poses get to integrate in the body. So don't skip it. Give yourself the gift of rest and relaxation. So lying on your back, arms out to the side with the palms up, open and receiving. No tension in the legs, just let your feet flop out or in, whatever's more comfortable. The neck is long. And if it's not comfortable to lie flat on your back, you can always roll a blanket or put some pillows underneath your knees. With each exhale, allow your body to sink into the floor. Allow for a spaciousness in your joints. And let the magic of yoga happen.